The House Where Death Lived. I'm Rebecca Lieb.
I'm Jason Horton.
And this is Ghost Town.
The lawyer and Nussbaum, a writer of children's books. They were upper middle-class people. After intense negotiations, Steinberg agreed to talk to Inside Edition. He is a man on the edge. A jury believed he inflicted savage wounds on Lisa the last night of her life. But Steinberg denies even being with Lisa when she was hurt.
Well, the simple fact is that you say you don't know how she got hurt.
No, I know.
This is going to check off a lot of boxes.
Ooh.
You're going to get a historic place.
Ooh.
You're going to get a haunting.
Ooh.
And you're going to get true crime.
Oh, yeah.
All those things. I feel like, because the name is Ghost Town. So I think some people think like all the stories are about ghost, even though Ghost Town by definition has nothing to do with ghosts.
Yeah, people have a hard time with this.
Yeah, and even though it's pretty well explained, but in fairness, I feel like we, do cover ghost-based things, but we haven't as much. We are, again, lately, and I wanted to do something that, gave people some, like, haunted stuff.
Yeah, you got to give the people their fix.
Yeah, they got to get their fix, but I found a little bit more. Yeah, so I got a little more than I bargained for, and we're going to talk about New York City. Right,
What's
we're gonna go back to New York City.
Wow.
Did you say what's that?
Like, it's not a funny bit when I'm like, what's that? Where people are like, I love the show Seinfeld. I'm like, never heard of it.
Yeah, you just go. It takes like, So we're gonna go to New York City, Greenwich Village.
Oh,
you can't afford it.
I can't afford it.
You're too cool. It's not. You're not cool enough for it. No. You're not. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And we did a little New York City when we talked about the Tompkins Square Park riots, and we've talked about New York City a bunch of times.
We go to New York a fair amount because it is very old and very fun, very spooky,
and very cool.
Ooh,
and that's the most
cool
important
guys.
thing. As long as it's cool, this is
and Googleable. We'll be there.
Yeah. Listen, if we can look you up very quickly,
if we can find you on a ranking list that we can steal and use in this podcast, we'll do it. We'll take you up on that challenge.
I went this one kind of sent me down a couple of rabbit holes though. This one definitely got to me. This one is the House of Death.
What?
Interested?
Me?
Continue?
No. House and death?
No. Yeah.
Everything in between? Oh, God, I don't care for it.
What about Duplex of Death?
Oh, okay. That's sensible.
Brownstone
condo.
Yeah.
Part-time timeshare condo of death.
Yeah. 55 and up
exactly.
condominium was a
old person's home facility
of death.
Of death. Exactly.
So the House of Death, which I was just in New York and I was like, I wish I went there. But I know I love plaques. I love a historical plaque.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know I've seen this plaque before because I looked and I found the plaque. But the House of Death address, if you want to go check it out, it's 14 West 10th Street in Greenwich Village. Ooh. The Village, baby.
Yeah.
It's like counterculture. Grab
a slice in the East Village.
Yeah.
Rhythm of the city.
Yeah. Ooh, cool. Yeah. It was built in the 1850s in the kind of area of Washington Square Park, kind of near there, before got its infamous name, the Brownstone. It is a brownstone.
Wow.
Was members New York's elite, including Mr. James Borman Johnson, whose husband was a founding member of the Metropolitan Underground Railroad and the Broadway Underground Railroad. So,
wait, is this a gay couple?
I don't know. Yeah.
Mrs.
James.
Mrs. Okay.
Mrs. James. We're talking like the 1800s. Yeah, don't get progressive yet.
Funny business in Brownstone.
No. And then there was this other rando dude who lived there in 1900, Mark Twain.
Never heard of him.
Yeah.
I only know Samuel Clemens.
Yeah. They're the same person. Did you not? The whole time you're like,
what?
You're like some of my favorites, Sammy Clemens. Mark Twain, two of my faves, same person. In fact, the plaque there was what it's indicating that he lived there. So pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Some say he never left.
Bad roommate, though.
Yeah, no, bad.
Just like Phil the Brita. Okay,
yeah, it's
God, what are we doing here?
Yeah, it doesn't include utilities.
Oh,
You think it includes internet?
Can you keep it down?
Yeah.
Anyway.
And then they were like, come on, Samuel. He's like, I'm not Samuel. And he's like, fine, Mark
Twain.
Well, I don't know who Mark Twain is.
Jesus.
So he always kind of skidded under because he always claimed that people call him the wrong name. So that worked out for him.
Well, interesting.
So, but he lived there for a little over a year, but some say he never left.
Who says that?
People.
Oh.
People who see ghosts.
trust 'em.
Yeah, people who see ghosts. They said there was... what? Did you hear that door just shut?
You guys, I don't know if you heard that, but my bathroom door shut. Mark Twain is here.
Yeah.
And he is not happy.
He's like, well, Samuel Clemens isn't.
This place is home.
Yeah. So that's our Southern accents
Yeah,
for the remainder
yeah.
of this?
I guess so.
That's pretty much
so. It's
it.
a long day's journey tonight over here.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But in the 1930s, a mother and daughter claimed to have encountered the author sitting near a window where he stated, and I quote,
A famous ghost. Oh, God.
should I do an accent?
Yeah.
Are you sure? It's going to be bad.
Yes. Oh, my God. Do it.
My name is Clemens, and I has a problem here, and I got to settle. He disappeared moments later.
Do it one more time.
One more time.
Just one more time.
My name is Clemens, and I has a problem here. I got to settle.
One of the most important American authors didn't know the right verb agreement.
I mean, that was...
Do it one more time.
One more. This is the third one. Because the third one summons him. Even though he's already in your bathroom.
Already in my bathroom.
Now, my name is Clemens, and I has a problem here. I got to settle. He disappeared moments later in Seersucker. I'm assuming. I just added that
I
part.
thought he was all in white.
We have white. I mean,
Like
see,
cane?
yeah, a little cane, mustache.
Linen? Like summer New York linens?
He looked like whatever the KFC.
Yeah,
like,
he looks like the
Colonel
KFC guy.
Sanders,
We
yeah.
all know that.
Yeah, that's more important.
And so they're like, damn.
Yeah, well, that was that. As the demand for housing grew in NYC, many brownstones were converted to multifamily apartments. Gotta get those people in.
Yeah, you gotta.
Gotta get that
Times
money.
are changing. You can't
Listen, there's a
afford
lot
the
of
heat alone.
people moving. There's all, you know what I mean? Like New York City is a lot of people living there.
yeah.
Melting pot.
Absolutely.
Ellis Island's down the street.
Ellis Island exists
Yeah.
in New York City.
It does.
Correct.
And it was transformed into a single family home into 10 apartments in 1937.
Each one as haunted as we promise you. All of these are equally haunted. They are all as haunted as the last. You will not get less of a haunting or more of a haunting than your neighbors.
I'm only guaranteeing 3. According to the New York Post, actress Jan Bryan Bartel and her husband moved into the top floor apartment, which was one time a servant's quarters, and almost immediately began feeling a presence she described as a monstrous moving shadow.
Whoa.
She documented...
She's like, I know moving shadows, and they are generally like, okay, I'm pretty adjusted to
Jen,
them.
what's up, so?
This one was monstrous.
Now, coincidentally, she documented her struggle with the paranormal in her book,
Of course.
Spindrift. Spray
I love
from
that
a
soda.
Me too. I was just gonna say, it's. And Spindrift. If you are out there, we want your soda.
I won't call it spendthrift.
No,
Spindrift.
I love the Spindrift. Spindrift spray from a psychic sea, which is a cool name.
Yeah, but also it's a lot of S's and P's. It's
It
a
is,
lot of
yeah.
Like I don't know.
It sounds
I would suggest
very
something different,
It sounds
but
very kind of coastal.
Yeah.
If anything, she completed that in 1974. She also experienced.
She wanted to be the new Artist Way.
She also experienced hauntings in 16 West 10th Street, so right next door, where she lived in the 1950s before moving to the Twain house. So, was it leftover? Do they follow her there? Were they already there? Are they different? They don't
ghost
know.
Overflow.
The house has been visited by multiple paranormal investigators who claimed to have sensed the presence of a lady in white, a young child, and a gray cat. Interesting.
Feline ghost.
Yes.
This one's adorable.
Now,
Okay.
this is what happened to make this residence famous. It put it on the map.
Okay. So before it was just like JV style haunting. Like, yeah, Mark Twain, very cool. Still,
We're
it's
going-
New York City. There's ghosts everywhere, baby.
I don't know if the hauntings play into this at all.
Okay.
Some say that it has.
Okay.
But this is where we go into full on true crime mode. I mean, we're going full on. I mean, we're going into New York City, 1987, which
baby.
is perfect. Crime is like it's so terrible and
Yeah.
awful, but it really, it hit like a lot of different apexes in the 80s New York City. I mean, the economy was like, it's better, it's worse. I don't know. Reaganomics, trickle down economics, which was great.
Everyone benefited from that.
Everyone loved it. They thought it was great. Everyone had a really great time, except for people who were not rich.
Literally most people.
Now, I'm familiar with this not by the gentleman, but by his wife in this, because her name, I was like, I remembered this name. But this is going to be a little story about Joel Steinberg. Joel Steinberg was a criminal defense attorney, successful. He was accused of murdering and was convicted of manslaughter in the November 2nd, 1987 death of 6-year-old girl Elizabeth. Lisa was her nickname. I don't know why they got that.
It's just another name.
With he and his live-in partner, or what wasn't his wife, Hedda Nussbaum. That's how.
Yes.
Do you know? Okay, there we go.
Okay, because I was like, I know his name, and I was like, it's all clicking. This is horrible. This is horrifying.
This is pretty unrelenting.
It becomes very dark.
You will be angry.
Yeah, you're not gonna after this. You're not gonna want to talk to people.
No,
maybe.
This is not.
You're not gonna.
This is bad.
Yeah.
This is a bad one. And I try to put myself what is, a criminal defense attorney in the, kind of get into the late 80s. Power, money, stress, New York City, drugs, which are running, crack cocaine is
filled with cocaine.
Crack is becoming or is already an epidemic. And this all makes for a nice cocktail of crime. So the thing is, this was their adopted daughter, but they were not their rightful adoptive parents of Lisa, because the mother was like, hey, I'm going to pay you money as an attorney to find they wanted a nice Roman Catholic family to adopt her.
Wholesome.
Pocketed the money and just kept her.
Yeah. We're already starting off in a really disturbing, dark place.
Just was like, oh, well, we almost like an accessory. I mean, I need to have a kid. I mean, I need to, and this woman was like, here, can you find a good home? He's like, yeah, I'm an attorney. And he's like, why don't I just keep her?
We don't have any kids running around here.
Right. For good reason.
Yeah, for great reason.
For very good reason. He was accused of striking her in the head. I could read you all the details, but striking her in the head in a crack drug-fueled rampage because he was freebasing.
Yeah.
He would come and go from the house, freebasing, allegedly or whatever, probably did, abusing Hedda Nussbaum, who had her own things going on.
Yeah. Oh boy.
The story of also her and her, what is her level of responsibility, her level of criminality in this has been debated and is still debatable.
Yeah. And
depending on who you ask, there's articles like, are we ready to forgive Hedda Nussbaum? And that's really depending on, where you stand. Where you stand,
Absolutely.
who you are. So he hit Lisa, who was freebasing, came home. He would come and go from the house a lot, score, whatever he was doing, hit Lisa for whatever reason, and was gone. And Hedda Nussbaum was there for 10 hours. Didn't do anything.
Nothing. Yeah.
Did nothing.
This is the part of it where I'm like, in those 10 hours, what? It's like the Lululemon thing where it's like there's this amount of time where someone who's dying is sitting with someone who's not dying. What happened?
So I try to put myself in the place of, for a second, what that must be like. And I can't pretend to imagine, but what I can do is think well, why wouldn't somebody do something? And I'm going to assume it's I'm going to take the fact that you're enjoying this out of it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take that out of it. I'm going to say it's fear, because if you have to say, hello, 911, my adoptive daughter is here and she is dying, you have to answer questions.
Yeah. You have to answer to somebody.
You have to answer to somebody, and and you feel the guilt, the shame, the fear, the repercussions.
Absolutely.
Even though
it makes it real, even though it's obviously real. But it makes it, I think when other people are involved, especially in an abusive home like this, like with any abusive home, it's like bringing people in illuminates exactly what's happening, and it is not good.
So, and if Hedda Nussbaum was had done something, the girl would be alive.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like, well, she got decapitated.
Yeah.
It's, okay,
It's
obviously
like
there's nothing you
it's
can
over.
do.
No, someone is dying next to you. Like
Yeah,
someone
slowly.
You are in a room with someone you're supposed to be taking care of as an adult woman. A child is dying and you just sit there. Yeah. And again, we don't know what happened. Like there's so many things we can talk about with like their dynamic, the abuse, etc. But oh my God, like the horror.
Yeah. Are we due for a break? I feel like...
yeah, how about we take a break? Give yourself like a nice deep breath.
Yeah, take a couple of deep cleansing breaths.
And we'll be back shortly.
Yeah, and we are back. We have a Patreon. I'm just going to get it out. I want to get back into this.
Yeah.
But we, bonus episodes, patreon.com/ghosttownpod. It helps us. We are editing. We outsource.
Yeah.
And we also, have bonus episodes you can listen to. They're there right now. You can listen to all of them. And plus it just helps us. We're submitting to some festivals and we have other costs.
Yeah.
So if you want to help and, if you're just like, I just want to help support this podcast, that's where the money, that's where the $2 a month is going, or the $1 or the 50 cents or $5, whatever you feel like. There's no pressure to do it, but there are bonus episodes if you're like, I ran out of episodes, but after this episode, you only have to wait till Friday for another one because we have Fail Friday.
Oh, it's going to be so faily.
Yeah, it's going to be. It'll start your weekend off right or wrong depending on how.
And you're going to need it. I mean, after this episode, we're going to get a little lighter.
Yeah,
on Friday.
And if you want to rate and review on iTunes or Castbox, it helps us out because
really does.
We're at a 4.0 not bad.
Yeah, that's straight A's.
It's a straight A minuses, B pluses. But it helps if you, and we appreciate it for better or for worse. We appreciate you taking the time and if you giving us your opinion. And you can also message us on Instagram, which is Ghost Town Pod.
Yes, please message us. We love hearing from you guys. We love suggestions. We love feedback. We love your experiences of places that we talk about, especially this place that we're talking about right now. I think a lot of people that I know live pretty close to there. I think it still exists.
It exists, and we're going to get back into it. Ugh.
I know, but we need episodes like this. Like this is where we're telling you how it is, and it's part of, the vast scope of what we cover,
Well, and this, I think, is one of those cases that with the news cycle, because I don't say we take it for granted, but the 24-hour news cycle it wasn't always there.
No.
But it's been around for a long enough time. And this is one of those cases that really hit the news cycle kind of early on where people were following it up and covering it up. And then there was the court cases were being followed. So this is definitely a predecessor of a lot of things that we see and take for granted if we're watching a documentary.
Yeah, definitely.
Or whatever. So, back then, like you had to wait till the 7 o'clock news or 11 o'clock news or for updates.
Yeah. Or
and now we have
paper the next day and it might not even be reported adequately, really.
Yeah. In a timely way or, there's no social media. And, this is the kind of case that I remember because the name Hedda Nussbaum was, it's a name that you remember. It's like very kind of stereotypical or it's very New York.
Yeah, very New York. It's also like she is the gray area. We don't know. She was, we'll talk about her role, really.
Yeah. So their, I say adoptive daughter. I mean, not technically.
It's like
just for information purposes, died at St. Vincent Hospital after being removed from life support on November 4th, 1987, 3 days after being transported from the apartment. The House of Death, as has been titled. Mitchell was also another child adopted by Steinberg, who was 18 months old at the time of Lisa's death, and Steinberg's partner, Hedda Nussbaum. Both the boy and Nussbaum showed sign of physical abuse, and Nussbaum's battered, unkept appearance. So it was a little bit of mental. This
is mental. I remember too some details of it being just like all of these bruises and the house being gross.
Yes, no, yeah, because you think this defense attorneys living in Greenwich Village, hot shot. And probably a lot of the money was going towards whatever was going towards, but a lot of it was drugs and a very addictive. You know what I mean? Daily. By daily, I don't mean once daily. I mean it's just like a constant. Yeah, and that's kind of. When that is the number one thing, things like health and being things kept up are go by the wayside. In exchange for her testimony against Steinberg, Nussbaum was not prosecuted, but So technically it's like, yes, Steinberg hit her, but Nussbaum's neglect
Is what killed her.
led to her death. That's what I like. That's what's being put out there.
Yeah, it's kind of what we were just talking about before we started recording this with I Love You Now Die. If you guys have seen that documentary, it's really like, who is at fault when all of these things precipitate a tragedy?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
At Steinberg's trial, his defense said that Nussbaum's extensive injuries, which include severe damage to the face, permanent spinal damage, but that didn't limit her from moving and walking. It didn't keep her like reclusive or anything like that. It resulted from a consensual sadomasochistic relationship between the two. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't speak for the codependency on that level. Her attorneys claimed that remaining with him while he beat her was a sign of battered woman syndrome. Stockholm, like some kind of syndrome.
It's also like an abusive like a pretty big benchmark of an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
The codependency.
That's not new.
Yeah.
That's not hard to believe. I don't think there's any real conspiracy with that. They were unable to convict Steinberg on the most serious charge of second-degree murder in New York State. In New York State at the time, first degree only applied to those who killed police officers or committed murder while already serving a sentence for a previous murder, which is
That's specific and seems like it wouldn't.
Yeah. So pretty much second degree murder it's going to start at second degree for the most case, because those are pretty kind of extenuating circumstances. The jury said convicted him of the second most serious charge, first degree manslaughter. So now we're going into manslaughter, but that's first degree.
Yeah.
Then he was sentenced to the maximum of that time, 8 1/3 to 25 years in prison. On 2 occasions, he was denied parole, mainly because he never expressed remorse. That's the big thing about him. He never.
Yeah. This guy is like a legit horrible.
Just a bad, like, and I don't know if it's the personality plus the effect on drugs, or it's just narcissism.
Yeah.
Or it's just you don't want to admit that. I don't know, whatever the case may be, because maybe you're so narcissistic that you're like, well, if I don't ever admit to it, I'll never publicly, because I'm sure he was like, I was a defense attorney, which has got to burn when you're sitting there.
Yeah, on the other side.
On the other side, and I feel like, and I don't know if his personality, kind of precipitated it, or it was the drugs, or both, or it's just like, either way, this is the kind of guy he was, but regardless, never expressed remorse.
Yeah, and that's, again, what makes Hedda Nussbaum more interesting, because she was really this gray area, whereas he was just like a trashy, horrible, disgusting human. He
did, on June 30th, 2004, he was paroled under the state's good time law, which mandates the release of inmates who exhibit good behavior while incarcerated after serving as little as 2/3 the maximum sentence. He, in spite of his good behavior, he spent most of his imprisonment at New York State's Supermax prison, the Southport Correctional Facility, presumably to prevent him from being attacked by other inmates. If you're in Supermax, you're like,
your
that's
life
like
is in danger.
You're a terrorist, you're a domestic terror, you're a serial killer. It's not like general population.
Yeah.
And that wasn't because of him. It's because he's so reviled.
Yeah.
That
he's in danger, so he needs to be protected.
So that's why he's in the stronger prison.
Yeah.
After his release, he moved to Harlem. He kind of like tried working in construction. He was a disgraced, disbarred lawyer.
Of course.
Trying to get work doing like kind of legal work, like kind of off the book, because I guess
freelance paralegaling,
whatever he could, which is he really can't technically give out. I don't know where that puts you as far as if you're
you're legit
consultant,
not on the bar.
So the New York Post had kind of like a somewhat of an update, but he is pariah. Rightfully so, and has not changed. It's not like he went on to. He's a pariah. He has been known to hit up strangers for cigarettes and Wi-Fi connections.
Well, it's tough out there.
Yeah,
Starbucks? You can't hit up all the Starbucks at once. No. You got to rotate, get some Wi-Fi.
He will shuffle around corner to ask the neighborhood produce vendor for handouts of rotting fruit and vegetables so he can use it as fertilizer on the garden outside his ground floor apartment.
God, apartment again.
There's a quote from him. "You have to remember I'm a pariah, so it's not that easy for me."
Oh.
Yeah.
You want empathy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if you go out there and put a picture of me in the paper, I can't take a subway for 2 weeks because some fat person will decide to say, "I know you. You're a piece of SH." It's edited out here.
I will not swear.
And then I turn around and he punches me in the F-king nose. I don't know why the thing is, he's like now fat shaming.
Yeah.
Like it's
an interesting, it's like, how about you have a quote. without being awful. You can't stop being awful? Okay, keep being
It gets
awful.
worse.
Okay,
It gets worse. On the 30th anniversary of Lisa's death, he remains remorseless, denying any guilt for any of her life. Here's his quote. You ready?
Yeah.
What did she die of? She died of pulling the plug, he said. Yeah, referring to getting
Somebody
taken off
punch
license.
this guy in the nose till he has no nose and he bleeds out.
I don't care what your weight is. He even claims that he can't come to grips with Lisa's death because it's just too painful for him.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Mm-hmm.
One of the things I do, and instead of suppressing the memory, is I keep the memory alive.
Oh, good.
And what I notice and what people have pointed out to me, I speak as if Lisa were alive. I don't accept her loss. I don't accept it as a loss. I accept it as a memory.
Oh, what a choice that you got to make. What a beautiful choice that you had a decision to make in your life that you get to live.
He was asked if he had anything he wished to say to Lisa, and he answered in this kind of cold, sarcastic tone. He would say to Lisa, this is the quote. Yeah, I'd never kill you again, and I'd never beat you up every day, and I'd never make you a torture tot in a house of horror. That's something he said during a 1997 parole hearing.
Jesus.
Yeah. Yes. And a little on Hedda Nussbaum, because she's a separate case.
Yeah.
Okay, so Hedda Nussbaum didn't notify authorities, according to her, at one side, because Steinberg had supernatural healing powers. So she was like, oh, idiots. He'll just use his supernatural healing powers. What's also interesting about her is you look at pictures of her. And I sent you that picture.
Yeah.
She's had I think a decent amount of plastic surgery, and I don't know if that's part of her wanting to change how she looks for whatever reason, or it's part of her. She's obviously a victim, but also where do you stop being a victim and you have to like do something about it? Because he would like come and go from the house, but it's not like he would be back every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
He was gone it was 10 hours.
This is the thing too. It's like, fine, you can be tortured by your partner. Like when the fact that she was also the guardian of 2 other children, it's like, no, you can't.
Yeah.
You
So
can't.
and what's her involvement with drugs? Probably some.
Yes.
Probably some was, who knows how she felt in that situation. But when the cops show up and now you're getting hauled off, then you're like, wait a minute, hold on. I'm a prisoner here, and if the cops never showed up, like where would it end? It would never end. I mean, eventually, they took her to the hospital and it was too little too late. But I mean, I don't know, would he die obviously he is still alive now.
Yeah.
Not flourishing, but he's really no worse for the wear. So obviously, I don't know. Obviously, when you get, when you go to Supermax, you're not doing crack or doing cocaine anymore.
Yeah.
So he survived that, and they both survived that. I think she has maybe when you have a book, and I understand that, like, you have a book and maybe you got to pay some debts and stuff like that. But the fact that you're like
profiting off of this tragedy,
making a buck off, is unless all the money is going to recuperate,
abuse,
recuperate, because you listen to a lot of these things, and it's like you have to now pay and reparations. You have to pay back people to recoup their losses that you took from them, but you're in prison or you're not allowed to work. So how do you make that money? And a lot of times, so if that's the case, great. I don't care how it gets there, and if it's interesting and entertaining for people, or they want to know, who am I to say no to that? But it's like when you're making a buck off of,
it's deplorable.
It's
disgusting.
If you're making like a profit off it is pretty rough. But if you want to see pictures of Hedda Nussbaum, she just, I don't know what is going on with her, but she, her name will be even more, because I feel like I've known Joel Steinberg. I was like, I've probably known 10 Joel Steinbergs, but Hedda Nussbaum, like, you are not.
That's the name of a time and a place.
Yeah.
That place is New York City. And that age is the 80s.
And the house is the house of death.